What's going on YouTube? Nick Cheadle here. Today I'm going to take you guys through a chiropractor session. This is my chiropractor at the moment, Luke White. I've been doing some work with him lately after suffering a bit of a back issue. As some of you might know, I've had a bulging disc for a little while now and I'm looking at getting on top of that. Basically got to the point where I was sick and tired of falling back into the same old routine, not doing my mobility work, not doing my rehab work, and consequently everything kept happening over and over and over again. So I've bitten the bullet and I have put my faith in Luke to try and help me get over that so that I can actually get past it once and for all and start making some progress. So I'm gonna hand you guys over to Luke. He's gonna give you a little bit of an insight into what he does, how he does it, and then take you guys through the rehab work that we're doing together, some of the exercises that I'm using to get on top of the lower back issues that I'm having, and give you an insight into how a chiropractor might help you or your own training regime.
Basically the way I treat is with the idea in mind that anything we do in the room is short term. So adjusting soft tissue work, it's designed to create a short term effect, maybe reduce pain, increase range of motion, but in the long term, exercise is the only thing that'll fix what's going on. So with Nick, we started working together about 3.5 weeks ago and we found he wasn't unstable, he was just less stable than we wanted him to be, which kept resulting in lots of low back pain. Initially, passive techniques will never give us an active result. So me adjusting him, doing soft tissue work, whilst it's great, makes him feel good at the time, it'll never give him the stability he requires for big lifts, lots of volume, things like that, powerlifting. So it's kind of a little bit of a change from what Nick's used to, but that's what we've been working with and we've had pretty good results so far, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that most chiropractors seem to do is either focus on, I guess, either adjustments or soft tissue work, whereas I think from experience now it seems that a little bit of both initially works, and then obviously ongoing, I guess, exercise prescription to help with overcoming imbalances or weaknesses.
Yeah, so I think, look, it doesn't matter these days who you see, whether it be physio, chiro, osteo. Some people disagree with me, but at the end of the day, as long as they've got your best interest at hand, and that includes fixing you long term, so giving you exercises, whether they adjust or do soft tissue work or mobilize, it's all just another tool in the toolbox to get you from point A to point B. Get the knee for me. There's a lot of tightness. It's just a really tight end feel compared to this leg. So we test out those hip flexors. Turn that foot out a little bit for me. Don't let me push that down. And compared to this side, lifting up again, hold strong. Huge difference. So we can already see he's got a fair bit of rotation through those hips. If we have a look at the glutes as well, check out the glute medius. This side, hold strong. It's not moving anywhere. Have a look at this one here, hold strong. Nothing. So we can already see when that glute med doesn't work, one of those hips drops, creating some imbalances through the core. Now, Nick just said to me he did a massive leg session, kind of off what he normally does, so it could have a lot to do with it. Initially when I treated him, that was what was causing a lot of that dysfunction around the core. So we saw that he had some pretty tight QL. So if we have a look at this now, I'll get you to push your hand into that QL muscle there for me. So this puts a bit of pressure to that muscle. Now we hold out here again. It's magic. Take that hand out for us. Hold strong. Nothing. And we can do that on this side as well. So chuck that hand in there again. Hold that up there. Hold strong. Take the hand out. Hold strong. Nothing. So what we can see around that core is there's a lot of overactivity through that QL muscle, which is compensating for the weakness, or I guess, weakness in those muscles. So we're going to start by working through this muscle, then working in these just to get the hips in balance. Then when he does his stability work, it's actually going to work. He's going to get a lot more out of it. Then when he goes to his mobility stuff for his thoracics, it's going to stick because he's stable. So let's get you on your side facing that way, mate. So we're just going to work through this QL muscle just to loosen it off a bit. It's probably a little bit tender through there, hey?
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah. And then what we've found that works really well through Nick's back, through his low back, is some dry needling. Now if Nick's up for the challenge again today, might hook into some of that again. Yeah. So the reason I like dry needling for the low back is the low back's generally an area that these days moves too much, and we want it to be nice and stable. It's two functions, that area for the core is breathing and transferring the movement to the upper back and the hips. So if it's moving too much, we don't get that transfer, generally get pain. So by needling the back as opposed to doing lots and lots of releasing, I often find they don't feel as loose after it. They get a bit more activation through it as well, and it lasts a bit longer, the pain relief too. There, just going to work through that hip flexor through the front there. All right with with that?
Yeah.
No pressure's alright.
Yeah, it's fine.
So most of the work we've been doing with Nick at the moment is just getting these hips leveled, then working on some stability stuff, basically to help him transfer that movement from the hips to the torso a bit better and reduce any of that back pain after his sessions too. Okay. Go one more through there. Now let's check that out again. Hold that there nice and strong. Good. Now the important thing to remember is this gives us a pretty positive result straight away, but like I said, it's only going to be a short-term fix. If he doesn't do the exercising that we give him, after a couple of days it's just going to go back to how it was before. Hold that there again, hold strong. That's already a bit stronger without even touching it. So what we're going to do is work through the inside. These adductors have a relationship and should be a nice even ratio with the abductors of the leg. So if these adductors are too tight and overactive, they're going to cause a shift in that hip position, so it won't center properly and ultimately give us a weaker appearing glute med. So by releasing this, which feels pretty fantastic, we're going to see that Nick's hip's going to start firing up a lot better. So what these changes showed us initially was on Nick's squat. When he started to load it up more, he had a large weight shift, and this is pretty common because our bodies are made to be asymmetrical. They're never going to be made perfect. One shoulder's going to be rotated more than the other, vice versa. But everything we do these days is pretty much symmetrical. When we squat, when we sit, when we stand, it's designed for us to move in one perfect pattern. So if we don't start to fix these things as we load them up too much, we really do increase that risk of injury in the long term. That's it. And with powerlifting, you're exerting sometimes over 100% of what was your maximum effort in one go. So if there's something slightly off, we want to minimize that risk as much as we can, so give you the best possible outcome of getting a PB or not getting injured. Righty, what we're going to do now is just going to get you to bring that knee to your chest nice and slowly. Good, and all the way back. Just stretching out these glute med fibers at the same time. You alright with that?
Yeah.
Good. And like I said before, Nick's low back is moving a little bit more than we'd like it to, but it's improved a lot over the last few weeks. Because that left QL was a lot tighter, we're going to adjust that side. Generally I find the side that the QL's super tight, we get a lot of lumbar compression through that side, so we're just going to open up those joints now after this. Just come through there, holding nice and tight. There we go, a little bit already. So nice deep breath in and breathe all the way out. Beautiful. Upper back, get the thoracics moving, then we're going to finish with some needling just to get everything all the way out.
That was peaceful.
And same as I said, deep breath in and all the way out. Yeah.
I've never had a dry needle until I saw Luke 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so like I said before, they don't lengthen out the tissue quite as much as massage, so someone who's in a lot of pain, whether it be a low back injury or has a feeling of sensation of instability, they generally feel a bit better after the needles. And I find they last a bit longer, that pain relief effect. Okay. So basically we're just going to find some of those points through these paraspinals that are a little bit tight, like just there. Just give me a little tap like that. Just put it in like that. How's that, Nick? Not too bad?
Yeah, that's sweet, okay.
Cool. So last time I think Nick had just come back from Canberra and we did it and it was pretty intense. There was a few spots that were pretty nasty, but that one seemed to be a bit better than last time. Alrighty, they're not too bad, mate.
Oh, that's sweet.
Alright, so it might be a little bit tighter. there. All good with that, mate?
Yeah, I was going to know that one.
Yeah. So, what we often find with Nick with these needles, just around where he's had that disc irritation in the past, it can be a little bit more sensitive, which is pretty common with anyone who's had a long-term or long-standing injury, particularly around the low back. That's through there. I'm just going to get one more there. Beautiful. So we're just going to leave those in there for about 5 to 10 minutes, let them do a bit of their own work. Yep. Okay. That wasn't too bad?
No, good.
That's the best part.
Stings.
Alrighty. Let's get your face up, mate. Okay, then take your time getting up. Often it feels like it's got a nice back pump after doing that. So yeah, probably tell you. Yeah, face up if you can. So what I often find is the needles start to really work well after about 24 hours. So if you're in pain, that next day they'll start to feel a hell of a lot better.
I said before that we had the best part, but this is actually the best part.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to get a few of these joints moving. Like I said before, certain areas of the body built to move a lot, others built to be relatively stiff. We can see that Nick moves heaps through this lower portion of his neck, but as we get up to the top, it jams up pretty quickly there, and you can feel that little bump there, hey. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get those joints to move a little bit. So nice and relaxed for me. And it's just going to lock there. It's going to... Beautiful.
That was big.
That was a big one, yeah. And then just up the top there too. So same thing, nice and relaxed for me. Okay. Okay there. Beautiful. That'll get a few years.
Oh, just Nick's first time.
Yeah, my first time.
Alright. That's not too bad through there.
That's sweet.
Cool. So after this, we're just going to run through some of the exercises we've done with Nick at the start, just to create a little bit more stability through that low back, and then we're going to work on some movements to help improve his front rack positioning and that thoracic mobility that he needs to hit his squats a little bit better. Yeah, how's that feel?
Good.
Pretty good?
Yeah. Always feel really good after needles. Like Luke said, it doesn't have the same effect as when you get a lot of massage work. It sort of lengthens and really releases the muscle. Guys, if you have any questions about anything that's gone on today, please feel free to pop your questions down in the comment section below. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. But until next time, Luke, thank you very much, mate.
Happy to help.
We'll see you next time.
My name's Luke White. I'm a sports chiropractor. I'm based out of St Leonard's or Crow's Nest at Tensegrity Clinics, and then I've just opened up my own clinic in Bondi at the Well. Basically, I have a passion for working with powerlifters, bodybuilders, anything high performance sport related, but it does extend to just family and general population as well. You've seen a fair bit of what I do today, soft tissue work, dry needling, a bit of adjusting as well. I believe you need a little bit of everything to get someone better. But like I said, long-term wise, exercise is the only thing that'll give you the results you want. Changes in posture, changes in muscle length, tone, things like that. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. I'm more than happy to respond. Cheers.